A day in my life. Hi there. Welcome back to MagicMingle. I'm excited to take you along for a day in the life here in England. So, grab your tea or coffee, and let's dive into what a typical morning looks like for me. I hope you'll enjoy this journey and maybe pick up some new English phrases along the way. Let's get started. Waking up and morning thoughts. My morning usually begins around 7 a.m. I'm one of those people who finds the sound of a gentle alarm the perfect way to start the day. Not too loud, but just enough to wake me up gently. I reach for my phone, turn off the alarm, and like most people these days, I take a quick look at my messages or emails. Just a quick glance, though, because mornings are meant to be peaceful, right? As I sit up and stretch, I like to take a few deep breaths to wake up my mind and body. It's something I started doing recently. It helps me feel more awake and ready to take on the day. The mornings here in England are often chilly, so I immediately reach for my cozy sweater and slide my feet into my warm slippers. There's something so comforting about the quiet, early hours before the world gets busy. Freshening up. After that, it's time to freshen up. I head straight to the bathroom. Now, here in England, our bathrooms usually have a separate hot and cold tap, which I found a bit tricky at first. But now I'm used to it, and I quickly wash my face with some warm water to help me feel alert. I brush my teeth, of course, and splash a bit of cold water at the end. It's a great way to feel fully awake. Once I'm done in the bathroom, I run a brush through my hair and apply a little moisturizer. I prefer keeping things simple in the morning, but I do love feeling fresh and ready for the day ahead. A little perfume is always nice too. I choose something light and floral, just enough to feel refreshed without being overpowering. Making breakfast. Now let's head to the kitchen. Breakfast time. For me, breakfast is the best way to start the day on the right note. I usually go for something simple, yet satisfying. Today, I think I'll make some toast with scrambled eggs and a side of fruit. I grab the eggs, milk, and a few slices of whole grain bread. First, I pop the bread in the toaster. Then, I crack a couple of eggs into a bowl, add a splash of milk, and whisk them together. It's such a quick, easy breakfast, but it's also delicious and gives me the energy I need to start my day. Once the eggs are whisked, I pour them into a non-stick pan over medium heat, stirring slowly. Scrambled eggs can be a bit tricky if the heat is too high, so I keep it gentle. Soon enough, they're perfectly fluffy, and my toast has popped up. I plate everything, add a few slices of apple and some berries on the side, and voila, breakfast is ready. Enjoying breakfast with a bit of reading. I take my plate and head to my little breakfast nook by the window. From here, I can see the neighborhood waking up. I live in a cozy flat in the heart of town, so it's always interesting to watch people start their day. The occasional dog walker, a few people rushing to work. It's a peaceful sight. I usually pair my breakfast with a hot cup of tea. It is England, after all. Today, I've gone for a traditional English breakfast tea with a splash of milk. I find it so comforting, and it's almost like a little morning ritual for me. While eating, I like to read a bit. Whether it's a chapter from a book I'm enjoying or a few articles from the morning news, it's a quiet way to start the day. Today, I'm catching up on a novel I've been reading. It's always nice to escape into a story for a few moments before the busyness of the day begins. Getting dressed and choosing the outfit. With breakfast done, it's time to get ready for the day. I head to my room and pick out my clothes. I usually check the weather first. It's always a bit unpredictable here, so it's good to be prepared. Today, the weather says it's going to be a bit chilly with a chance of rain. That means layers. I choose a pair of comfortable jeans, a soft jumper, and my trusty trench coat. A scarf is essential too, especially in the cooler months. It adds a bit of warmth and style. I love putting a little thought into my outfits. It makes the day feel more exciting, somehow. And, of course, comfortable shoes are a must for walking around town. Once I'm dressed, I take a quick look in the mirror to make sure I'm all set. Feeling put together gives me a little confidence boost before I head out. Heading out for a morning walk or errands. Now, I'm ready to start my day. I grab my bag, my keys, and an umbrella just in case. Rain is always a possibility here, so it's best to be prepared. I step outside, and the fresh morning air is invigorating. There's a little cafe around the corner from my flat, and sometimes I'll stop by for a quick chat with a barista or pick up an extra coffee if I'm feeling like treating myself. Walking around my neighborhood in the morning is one of my favorite things. I pass by little shops and see familiar faces. It's such a nice way to feel connected to the community. And on days when I have errands to run, like picking up groceries or stopping by the post office, I try to make it a relaxed outing. It's amazing how even a short walk can make you feel refreshed and ready for the day. As I walk, I love taking in the sights and sounds of the city, the distant sounds of traffic, birds singing, and the occasional laughter from a passerby. And that wraps up my morning. I hope you enjoyed joining me for the first half of a day in the life. It's always fun sharing these little routines and thoughts with you, and I hope you're picking up new phrases and vocabulary as we go. Don't forget to stay tuned for Chapter 2, where I'll be showing you what my afternoons are like here in England. Lunchtime and afternoon plans. Alright, so after my lovely morning routine, it's time for some lunch. Since I usually have breakfast around 8, by noon, I'm ready to eat again. I like to keep my lunches fairly simple and fresh, but filling enough to keep me energized through the afternoon. Today, I'm making a quick salad with some leftover chicken from last night's dinner. I start by chopping up some lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, and bell peppers. I toss in the chicken, sprinkle a little salt and pepper, and drizzle some olive oil and balsamic vinegar on top. It's light but delicious and packed with all the nutrients I need. To go with my meal, I'll brew myself another cup of tea. Here in England, it's common to enjoy tea throughout the day, and I'm definitely a fan. This time, I'm making a green tea with a bit of honey. It's refreshing and goes perfectly with lunch. I like to eat my lunch at the small table in my living room near the window. Sometimes, I'll put on some soft music in the background. It creates such a peaceful atmosphere. As I eat, I take a few moments to plan the rest of my day. I usually keep a notebook with me where I jot down tasks, ideas, and appointments. If I have free time, I might decide to take a walk, read, or even go for a quick coffee with friends. Today, however, I have a few errands to run, so after lunch, I get ready to head out. Running errands around town. After lunch, it's time to tackle those errands. Living in England means I'm usually just a short walk away from all the shops and services I need. Today, I have a few things on my list, starting with a quick stop at the post office. I love how walkable my neighborhood is. The buildings here are a mix of classic English architecture and newer designs, which makes every walk interesting. The streets are lined with small shops, cafes, and flower stands, adding so much character to the area. I love noticing the little details. The red telephone booths, the ivy-covered brick walls, and, of course, the beautiful old lampposts. At the post office, I quickly send off a package. The staff are always so friendly and polite. They say things like cheers and stop instead of thank you, which is such a charming British habit. Next, I head to the local grocery store to pick up a few essentials for dinner. The aisles are filled with everything from fresh produce to unique local foods. I grab some pasta, a loaf of fresh bread, and some vegetables along with a little treat, a chocolate bar. I think everyone deserves a little chocolate now and then, don't you? A relaxing afternoon break. Once I'm back home, it's around 3 p.m., and I decide to take a little break. Afternoons are my time to relax and recharge, especially if I've been busy all morning. I settle down on my cozy sofa with a book and that chocolate bar I picked up earlier. I'm currently reading a classic English novel. I find that reading is not only relaxing but also helps me expand my vocabulary and improve my understanding of the English language. Today's chapter is particularly exciting, so I get lost in the story for a while. Around this time, I'll often spend a few minutes scrolling through social media, catching up with friends, or replying to messages. It's nice to stay connected, even if it's just virtually. Preparing dinner and winding down. Before I know it, the afternoon has flown by, and it's time to start thinking about dinner. I love cooking, and dinner is my chance to unwind and enjoy the process of preparing a meal. Tonight, I'm making pasta with a homemade tomato sauce. I chop up some garlic and onions, then sauté them in olive oil. The kitchen fills with the delicious aroma, and it's so comforting. Next, I add some chopped tomatoes, basil, and a sprinkle of salt and pepper. I let everything simmer on low heat as I cook the pasta. I find cooking to be almost meditative. It's a time to focus on each ingredient and savor the flavors. Once the pasta is done, I mix it with the sauce, and dinner is ready. I plate it with a side of bread, and sometimes I'll add a small salad too. For dinner, I prefer a quiet atmosphere, so I usually don't have the TV on. I enjoy the meal at my dining table, taking my time and reflecting on the day. Dinner is also a great time to think about what I'm grateful for. It's a nice way to end the day on a positive note. After dinner, if the weather is nice, I love going for a short evening walk. There's a lovely park nearby, and it's the perfect place to watch the sunset. The colors in the sky shift from soft pinks to deep oranges, casting a beautiful glow over the landscape. I find evening walks so peaceful. The streets are quieter, and the air feels fresh. It's a nice way to relax and clear my mind before winding down for the night. I take deep breaths, enjoying the scent of flowers and the distant sound of birds. It's a time when I can just be present, enjoying the little things around me. Nighttime routine and getting ready for bed. By the time I'm back home, it's around 8:30 p.m. I start my nighttime routine, which helps me unwind and prepare for a restful sleep. First, I wash my face and brush my teeth. I've always believed that a simple skincare routine is the best, so I stick to a gentle cleanser and a bit of moisturizer. After that, I change into my pajamas, soft and comfortable, perfect for a good night's rest. Then I make myself a cup of herbal tea, usually chamomile or peppermint. It's calming and a lovely way to signal to my body that it's time to slow down. I bring my tea to my bedroom, where I've set up a cozy corner with some pillows and a small lamp. I'll spend a few minutes journaling, writing down any thoughts or ideas that came up during the day. It's a habit I started a few years ago, and I find it helps me clear my mind before bed. I might read a few more pages of my book or listen to some soft music as I finish my tea. This quiet time helps me feel peaceful and ready for a deep sleep. Reflecting on the day. Before I finally turn out the lights, I take a moment to reflect on my day. I think about the moments that made me smile or things I accomplished, no matter how small. This habit of ending the day on a positive note helps me feel grateful and content. And that's a typical day in my life. I hope you enjoyed following along and that you picked up some useful English phrases and vocabulary along the way. Living in England is such a wonderful experience, and I'm so glad I could share a glimpse of it with you.
Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, and share our channel Magic Mingle with your friends to enjoy more magical stories.